in the minds of Muslims because of a lot of the turuq, a lot of the different Sufi groups that came about that are really far away from Islam, very far away from Islam. Because of that, because of the interest in tasawwuf as an academic subject. First by the Orientalists, and then that tradition continued with all of the different trends within the universities around the world, and then the Muslims borrowed that from outside and made tasawwuf also something that is an academic focus in our universities. In that sphere of tasawwuf, there's a lot of things that really have nothing to do with tasawwuf, and have nothing to do with Islam, and have nothing to do with the practice of Sharia and cleaning the heart. A theoretical construct. Tasawwuf is plain and simple. Tasawwuf is the act of cleaning the heart from anything negative and to fill it with everything positive. That's tasawwuf. And of course, when we say everything negative, everything blameworthy, what determines that something is blameworthy is Sharia. And what determines that something is praiseworthy is Sharia. So when we say tasawwuf is the act of removing all blameworthy things from the heart, it means everything that the Sharia deems haram or makruh, to remove it from the heart. And everything that the Sharia deems wajib or mustahab is to fill the heart with that. Of course, when we say mustahab and makruh, wajib and haram in this context, we're talking about things that relate to the a'mal of the heart, to the actions of the heart. So for example, love is an act of the heart, but it's still governed by the rules of Sharia. Haram and mustahab and makruh and all of that. So love, kufr is haram by Sharia. To love Allah is wajib by Sharia. That's what I mean. So these things are still governed by Sharia. So to remove all things that are blameworthy by Sharia and to replace them with everything, or to fill the heart with everything that is praiseworthy by Sharia, that's tasawwuf. And it is done through riyada. It is achieved through constant practice, through constant action. This is how we achieve tasawwuf. Tasawwuf is not something achievable through theories. You don't sit down and read a book on tasawwuf and suddenly the heart becomes pure. You don't sit down and read about concepts and the heart becomes pure. You don't attend gatherings of moments and singing and all of that. Not that I'm talking anything about attending moments. I'm saying attending the gatherings of moments, or to sing praises of the Prophet ﷺ, or to recite poetry. All of these things, whether they're praiseworthy or not, we're not talking about that. But what we're saying is to think that is in and of itself, the practice of tasawwuf is absolutely incorrect. Because these things don't clean the heart. You can attend 1,000 gatherings of this nature, but if you're not working on removing anger from the heart, you'll just be between those sessions an angry human being. If you're not removing love of dunya from one session to another session, then you'll just be a person who loves dunya attending a session of dhikr. That's it. You'll be a bad person attending a session of dhikr. That's it. To remove the elements that are bad from the heart takes work. It's a 24/7 cross hours, and you have to day. As you wake up, you're working on it. You go to sleep working on it. That's how you do tasawwuf. But if you attend years of dhikr sessions, and then you're still as angry as you were before. Somebody says something to you, ready to fight. After 1,000 sessions of dhikr, that means that you're still the same angry person from the first session. You still have love of dunya. If you're attending these sessions and you still have fear about rizq, if you're attending these sessions and you still hope to one day buy a Ferrari, if you're attending these sessions and you're still looking at another person showing up to the session in his BMW car and you're envying the person, then you are not practicing. That's what you mean. It's just a corrupt heart going to a session of dhikr. That's what you are. So, إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله. يعني to clean the heart is the detail of it is in the science of proper Shara'i tasawwuf, and the implementation of it is something that we're constantly having to work with all the time. One of the things that we should, as people, do is that there should not be a moment in which, meaning all of us, there should not be a moment in which we don't have at least 3 things in our mind that we're focusing on. When I say focusing on, in the mind, you're actively, okay, from this week, you identify, I have this weakness, that weakness, that weakness, in the self. So for the next week, these are the 3 things I'm focusing on. When I say focus on, I don't mean you ignore every other thing that's going on, or every other weaknesses. What I mean is, you're actually locked onto these 3 qualities, negative qualities that you have, and you're spending every moment that you can trying to remove them from God. There should always be that. If somebody asks you, what are you working on this week? You should have 3 things. Well, I get angry fast, I'm working on that. Well, I have insecurities about this, I'm working on that. Well, you have that. And then until you conquer that, you move to another thing. You conquer that, you move to another thing. You conquer that, you move to another thing. But active, it has to be active. You can't passively for years think, oh, I have to work about it. I have this weakness. Passively, you know that in your mind. And 20 years later, I have this weakness. No. If you can identify your weaknesses, actively try to work on them. Get rid of them. By whatever means. So first of all, you identify it, you try to get the cure for it from the Sharia, you try to get the cure from whatever you can. Whatever permissible means you can find to help you get rid of that, you work on it constantly and actively and focus. You're focused on these problems. At the same time, you're looking at the 3 opposites. 3 negatives, 3 bad qualities, but have 3 opposite good qualities most of the time. As you remove the bad ones, you try to replace it with it. If you realize I'm angry all the time, then the opposite of being angry all the time is to be calm and patient and stuff like that. So as you try to remove anger, you try to immediately replace it with the opposite. But it has to be proper, it has to be constant, and it has to be focused. Nobody achieves anything if they're not focused. Nobody achieves anything if they don't have a plan. Nobody says, oh, I'm going to do X. Okay, how do you do that? You must have a goal. You have the general map of how to achieve that goal. You know the steps of getting there, and you're working on the steps. That's somebody who's trying to achieve something. Somebody who doesn't have that, they can just tell you, this is my goal. That is called, the Arabic language is tamanni. That's wishing. It's wishful thinking, and wishful thinking is another disease of the heart that has to be removed anyway. So anybody who has a goal, but they don't know how to get there, they have no steps to it, they're not researching how to get there, they have no map about how to get to that goal, then you're not really trying to achieve that goal. You're just wishing to wake up one day and achieve that goal. Oh, I'm going to become a pious person. When? You're just hoping, oh, sometime when I get old, maybe I'll just wake up one day a pious person. It doesn't work that way. Nobody achieves dunya that way, or nobody achieves dunya goals or akhirah goals. None of them are achieved that way. Goals are only achieved through focused effort. So after that hadith, the next hadith, and Abi Ruqayya. So Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, عن أبي رقية تميم ibn أوس الداري رضي الله عنه قال عن أبي رقية تميم بن أوس الداري رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الدين النصيحة. قلنا لمن يا رسول الله؟ قال لله ولكتابه ولرسوله ولأئمة المسلمين وعامتهم. So Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala narrates from an unbroken chain to the authority of Tamim ibn Aus al-Dari. Tamim ibn Aus al-Dari was a Christian, a pious Christian, very pious Christian who accepted Islam. Before he accepted Islam, he was a monk. He was a pious monk, and then he came to Medina and he accepted Islam in the 9th year after the Hijrah to Medina. There's a lot of the manaqib of Tamim ibn Aus. Among the things that he's known for is that he's the first companion to bring light to the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he came into Medina, he came with a lot of lamps. And so he took a lot of lamps, hung it around the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, lamp and oil, the oil lamp that they used to have, and then he would light them. This is the first time that the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam became lit. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, "Nawarta masjidana, nawwara Allahu alayka fi dunya wal akhirah." That you have enlightened our masjid. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you light in the dunya and the akhirah. During the fitna that occurred during the Khilafah of Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu, and that continued during the Caliphate of Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, Tamim ibn Aus al-Dari, after the assassination of Uthman, migrated from Medina. He left and he went to Sham. Sham at the time was, he covered 4 places, which would be Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Palestine, and he passed away in Palestine. So Tamim ibn Aus al-Dari radiallahu anhu wa ardah, he said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ad-deen an-nasiha," that the religion is nasiha. Nasiha in the Arabic language means to be true to. To be true to. That's what it means. And nasiha means to be true to. And it can either come from nusr, which means ikhlas. Nusr with a dhamma, which means ikhlas, to be sincere. Or from nasr with a fatha, which means like the needle that they used to stitch with, to stitch something. It's called nasr with a fatha in the Arabic language. Either association gives the idea of being complete, of being true to. So if we talk about ikhlas, it means to be sincere towards something, towards somebody else. Nasiha is usually translated as giving advice. The root of the word means to be true to. It became used in the Arabic language, nasiha means advice. The reason for that is that the person who's giving advice to the other must be true to that person, to the needs of that individual. When you're giving advice, you're not concerned about you, you're not concerned about how the person thinks about you, you're not concerned about whether you sound intelligent, or you sound knowledgeable, or you sound no. The whole state of the advisor is, I am concerned about the one seeking the advice. So my entire advice comes from the place of looking out for what's best for the person I am advising. So this one, nasiha, became used for advice. But we said originally it means to be true to. Or if it comes from nasr, which means to stitch, it means to not be like a ripped cloth, basically. The purpose of clothing is to cover the body. If a piece of garment has a lot of rips on it, then it's not truly covering the body. It's merely pretending to cover the body. Like modern clothes. You know those jeans that people wear with all the rips on it? It's like, it's not covering much at all. Like, yeah, it's pretending to be a pants, but it's not really. Yeah, so that type of thing is what we're talking about. So nas means no, be a complete cloth so that you can do the function that you're supposed to be doing properly and completely. So the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ad-deenu an-nasiha." The religion is nasiha, is to be true to. Now, whenever we have this type of construction, there's 2 ways that we can understand it. Whenever we have the construction where we're saying in subject and verb, subject and predicate, this is that. and then sometimes it can be flipped around. We can either interpret it as, literally we're saying this thing is this thing completely and only. So there's an idea in the Arabic language, we call it hasr, which is exclusivity. This X is exclusively Y. So that hasr, the style, the construction in Arabic language, this construction is known as a type of what is called hasr. Hasr means exclusivity. The exclusivity, whenever we're dealing with ahadith al-Islam, the exclusivity expressed by the construction of the sentence can be understood literally or could be understood figuratively. If we understand it literally, then we're saying X is exclusively Y and nothing else. We're saying this is this and this only. Or the exclusivity can sometimes be understood metaphorically, as in this is mainly, the X is mainly Y, chiefly Y. The most important part of X is Y. Not that X is exclusively Y. X is only Y. Not that. So for example, in a famous example of that in the hadith is Al-Hajju Arafah. The hadith of the Prophet said, Al-Hajj Arafah. Hajj is Arafah. Now, how do we understand Al-Hajju Arafah? How do we understand the exclusivity in that construction? Do we understand it as literal? Do we say that Hajj is only Arafah? No, because everything who made Hajj, they did Tawaf and they did Sa'i and they stayed in Madina and Muzdalifah. So it's not only Arafah. So in that we understand the exclusivity as being metaphorical. The main part of Hajj is Arafah. The major rukn, integral of Hajj is the standing on Arafah. Not that Hajj is exclusively and only standing on Arafah. So in this hadith, ad-deenu an-nasiha, how do we understand the exclusivity? The ulama, depends on how you interpret nasiha, will differ. So some of them say that it's not literal. They say that the main thing about the religion is nasiha. Others say no, nasiha means to be true to. And then the rest of the hadith is to Allah and the book and the Prophet. If you examine the hadith, the entire meaning of the hadith is that Islam is only what he's going to describe. So they understand the exclusivity as being literal because of the rest of the hadith. The rest of the hadith will include everything that you can possibly think about as Islam. And we'll see how. So, ad-deenu an-nasiha. The religion is to be true to. The companions, radiallahu anhum, said, قُلْنَا, Tamim al-Dari said, قُلْنَا, we said, لِمَنْ ya Rasulullah. To be true to whom? The Prophet said, ad-deenu an-nasiha, the deen is to be true. They said to be true to. They said to be true to whom? Now, one of the benefits of the hadith, according to some of the ulama, from the first part, is that an alim, sometimes one of the ways of teaching is that the alim should only say something to the people and hope that they understood the meaning. And only clarify if there is a question that comes. Because the Prophet said, ad-deenu nasiha, and he didn't continue. He didn't try to explain what that means. Either A, because he wanted them to ask, because then whatever he says afterwards becomes something that they are interested about. You ask and now I'm going to tell you. Rather than to come and just lecture and people are like, who asked you anything? So, or when you ask something, you pay more attention to what the answer is, as opposed to if somebody just comes and tells you something that you didn't really ask. So this is one of the teaching methods of the Prophet ﷺ. Say something and you hope people understand. If they do and they go away, that's it, you're done. But wait, if they ask questions, only then you clarify further. So they said, be true to whom? So then the Prophet ﷺ said, Tamim al-Dari said, قال, the Prophet ﷺ responded, Lillah. Be true to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To be true to Allah Azza wa Jalla means to have Iman, first and foremost. To believe in Allah Azza wa Jalla, to believe that there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But not only to believe, but to believe on the basis of firm and solid knowledge. Because the Quran commands, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Know, have knowledge that no God or that nothing is worthy of worship except Allah Azza wa Jalla. So the Quran commands to know that. Not only believe it, because we can believe on the basis of taqleed. We can believe by following the authority of other people. A son can believe because his father believes. A student can believe because his teacher believes. But the Quran is not saying believe, just believe. There are many commands where it did say فَآمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ. But in this particular verse it says فَعْلَمْ, know it for yourself. Every individual, establish your iman on the basis of proper knowledge, ilm. This is why, according to some of the mutakallimun, some of the scholars of kalam, if a person's iman is not grounded upon proper rational basis, then the iman is invalid. Not revelation, not Quran and Sunnah. If it's not established by reason, by logic, then according to some of the scholars of kalam, it is invalid. This is not the mainstream belief of the mutakallimun, but some of them held that belief. The Ash'aris, we don't, the mu'tamad of the Ash'ari school is that we don't have to have that level of establishing it rationally is not necessary. It's not wajib. Because the iman of a muqallid is valid according to the Ash'ari school. If it is firm in the sense that if I follow the authority of somebody else and that person changes his mind, I won't change my mind. As long as it's that level, then it's valid according to the mainstream schools of kalam. But the idea is فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا. So to be true to Allah Azza wa Jalla means that you establish iman properly on knowledge so that it won't be shaken easily. If your iman is easily shaken, then you're not being true to your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To believe in Allah Azza wa Jalla. To deny all false gods. To deny them, to have no sharik. To negate all weakness. To negate all imperfections. Is also to be true to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To affirm all of His sifat. Everything that He describes Himself with. To affirm that is to be true to Allah Azza wa Jalla. To deny of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all qualities of created beings. To say that He has physicality, to say that He has direction, to say that He has place, to say that He operates within the realm of time and space. To be true to Allah Azza wa Jalla is to deny all of that. So, to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He should be believed in. And then to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than anything else. And to not fear anything else. Sorry, I've been sick for a while. So. To not fear things to the point where you believe that they can harm you even if it is the will of Allah for them not to harm you. And that's not being true to your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To have trust in Allah Azza wa Jalla for rizq and for everything else. So all of this be true to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then all of this really comes back to the benefit of man. When the Prophet said be true to Allah Azza wa Jalla, the benefit of that comes back to you. Allah Azza wa Jalla doesn't benefit from your being true to Him or not being true to Him. This is for your own sake. So قُلْنَا لِمَنْ قَالْ لِلَّهِ. And he said, وَلِكِتَابِهِ. and then be true to his book. وَبِكِتَابِهِ refers to all books, but more importantly the Quran. To be true to the book, first of all, means to read it. There are many Muslims who don't read the Quran. There are many Muslims who have not read the entire Quran from beginning to end. There are many Muslims who don't understand the Quran, make no attempts to understand the Quran. These are the people who take the Quran, the Prophet ﷺ said to in the Quran, the Prophet ﷺ, Allah tells us about the complaint of the Prophet ﷺ. Inna qawmi ittakhadhu hadha al-Qur'ana mahjura. That my people are taking this Quran as a thing to run away from. What is hujran al-Quran? According to the ulama, means everything. Not to look at the mushaf, not to look at the words of the Quran for a lengthy period of time, is falling under that complaint of the Prophet ﷺ. So to be true to the book means first of all to read it. Second, to try to understand it. Yeah, when we say read it, we don't mean to just read it. We mean to read it properly. The way that it should be recited. The Quran says that people who recited the way it حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ, the way it should be recited, أُولَٰئِكَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِهِ, they are the ones who actually believe in it. But to make no attempts to know how to recite the words of the Quran with tajweed properly to the point that your salah is valid is being negligent or not being true to the Quran. So to read it the way it should be recited, to memorize it, to learn it, to understand its meaning, to protect or to refute interpretations of it that is not from it, that cannot be, is also part of being true to the Quran. When people are trying to interpret the Quran in ways that it should not be interpreted, to come to the defense of the book by refuting those tafasir is part of being true to the Quran, and not to embrace it. Embrace it meaning embracing these tafasir. People are trying to explain the Quran within every time there's a change in the paradigm of science at a certain time. You have new waves of people trying to interpret the Quran within a new paradigm of science. Stop those people. Stop the people who are trying to, every time there's a change in philosophy, of culture, people try to reinterpret the Quran to fit that new philosophy, to fit that new culture, stop those people. This is what it means, be true to the Quran. To implement it. To implement the teachings of the Quran, and then to respect the Quran, to respect it physically, to respect it. When we say respect it, meaning have respect for the Quran. There's ulama who would not sit in a room in which there is a mushaf. They would stand just out of respect for the Quran. That kind of have respect for the mushaf, not to recite it in ways that it shouldn't. Don't use it as background music. We use the Quran as background music for different things. Don't do that type of thing. Don't play instruments to recite the Quran. There's this video that was circulating of somebody in Indonesia who recited the Quran in the melody of the opera singers, and there's like violins and something. This is haram according to some of the books. This is kufr. This is actually mentioned as kufr in some of the books of Kalam. Don't do that type of thing. The Quran is something that should be respected. Even the ulama differ about carving the verses of the Quran into the walls. It's a difference of opinion among the ulama if it's permissible to do something like that. So if it's permissible according to some. But we spoke earlier about the shubuhat. If some of them say it's not permissible, why is it carved into every wall of the masjids? Now becoming more and more popular. Stop that kind of thing. The Quran is to remain Quran. Have respect for the Quran. You carve it into the walls around the masjid, you have pigeons come and having their droppings on it and say, oh, we carved it in out of respect. And then you have to clean the walls, and then some people put these sprays that have najasa in it into the water, and then you wipe the words of the Quran with najasa, which is haram. So these type of things, when people think they're doing things out of respect, but it's really not. It's a disrespect of the Quran. To be true to the book means to be true to all of that. Be true to the Quran. وَلِكِتَابِهِ وَلِرَسُولِهِ, and to be true to the prophets, all of them, the Anbiya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by having respect for them, by having love for them, by not speaking negative about them, by not disrespecting their image, by not, all of that, have respect for the Anbiya, and more specifically for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he was the best of the Anbiya, he was the head of the Anbiya, he is the Imam of the Anbiya. Have respect, be true to. The Hadith says, "Deen nasiha," be true to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What does it mean to be true to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Believe in him, that's the first. Second, respect. Third, follow the Sunnah. That's why he was here, to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then again, like we mentioned about the Quran, there are things that people do that they think we're doing it out of honor for the Prophet ﷺ, and it is in fact the greatest disrespect to the Prophet ﷺ. Bid'ah, for example, to do bid'ah and say we're doing this out of love for the Prophet ﷺ is actually a worse disrespect to the Prophet ﷺ. He came to teach you something. You're inventing your own teachings and then saying he did it. That's a lie. That's disrespect to the Prophet ﷺ. So be true to the Prophet ﷺ. Practice what he said. Do as he said. Implement his sunnah. Defend criticisms of him. That's wajib. To defend his name. To defend his honor. To be true to his teachings, not to interpret his teachings in a way that he would not approve. Again, come back to interpretation of Sunnah. Not anybody can interpret the Sunnah. People who are trying to reinterpret the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, again, to fit different paradigms in the world. Every time there's a paradigmic shift in philosophy in the world, there's a new wave of reinventing how we understand the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ in order to fit within a certain time, to gain the approval of the people of that time and the people of that place. And then we say we're doing this in order to help. The message is actually a disrespect to the Prophet alayhi as-salatu was-salam. Some of the ulama even mention, for example, Imam al-Munawi rahimahullah ta'ala even mentioned, al-Munawi was around 9-something Hijriya or 10-something Hijriya, he died, said that one of the things that is part of nasiha to the Prophet ﷺ is that if we read a hadith and we see something from what we will call at that time the scholars of the world, meaning we will call today scientists, when we see some contradiction, it is to immediately in our approach give precedence to the word of the Prophet ﷺ. In our time, because of the growth of scientism, of the philosophy, we immediately reject hadith. Because, the scientists say X, Y, Z, without even trying to analyze the matter more, without even trying to see what it is. This type of thing is not to be true to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So he said, قُلْنَا لِمَنْ? We said to whom? He said to Allah, to His book, to His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. وَلِأَئِمَّةِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, and to be true to the leaders of the Muslims. The leaders of the Muslims here, firstly refer to the khulafa. When we say the leaders, we're talking about political leadership first and foremost. So the Prophet ﷺ said to be true to the leaders. Be true to the leaders means obey what they have to say as long as it doesn't involve disobeying Allah and the Prophet ﷺ. Second, wanting good for them. Wanting good for your leaders. Third, to make dua for them. Making dua for the leaders of Muslims is mustahab according to Sharia. It's mustahab according to the Sharia to make dua, to include the imams, the leaders of the Muslims in your dua is mustahab. Because the better the leader, the better the community. The worse the leader, the worse the community. So we should always have them in mind. In the Shafi'i school, in the khutbah, the khatib on Yawm al-Jumu'ah, when he makes dua, is actually mustahab in the Shafi'i school to include the leaders in that dua. If you go here in the UIA, for example, not in UIA, I mean, I think it's all over, you hear them including the names of the leaders of the different places in them. That's because it's part of the Shafi'i school. No matter how corrupt the leaders are. So to be true to them is to make dua for them, to want good for them, to advise them, and this is part of the fiqh that made this part actually makes its way into most of the mainstream books of Aqidah, not to rebel against the leaders with weapons even if they are oppressive. It is not permissible by Sharia to take up weapons against the leaders even if they are oppressive. It's not permissible. There are cases in which it's permissible. There are conditions under which it is permissible. But the conditions is you have you've grown in strength and power that it is most likely, you think, that if there's a rebellion and you oust the guy, you replace him with a new leader and there would not be any bloodshed. Meaning that the removal will be fast, and that the new person will be instilled right away, and that the stability of the society will not put in. If that's the conditions, and the new person you're putting in has to be better than the old one, no replace a bad guy with a bad guy. If those conditions are there, then that. But generally, it's not permissible. It's not permissible to come out against the leaders with weapons and to threaten them and try to oust them. It's not permissible. Why? Because of the fasad that is caused. Because of the destabilization of the country that is caused. Because of the bloodshed that is caused. Because of the economic ruin that is caused. So to be true to the leaders means advise them if you can, do whatever you can, but if you don't try to overthrow them, because there's greater fasad. And one of the things about Islam is that it is so grounded in society. Islam as a religion, the entire Sharia is grounded in society. Once you have a rule of society, the proper implementation of Islam becomes difficult. This is why Ihdina as-Sirat al-Mustaqim is plural, according to some of the ulama. You're praying, it's your personal ibadah to Allah Azza wa Jal, yet you're saying Ihdina, guide us. Why? Because if you lose that element of community, individuals trying to implement religion is very, very, very difficult. Even when people are traveling, the Prophet says, if three of you elect a leader, why? It's important to have a structure of leadership. So, قلنا لمن لله ولكتابه ولرسوله ولأئمة المسلمين, and to the Imam of the Muslims, the leaders of the Muslims. And then he said, وَعَامَّتِهِمْ, and to be true to the individual Muslims, to their leaders and to every Muslim. To be true to every Muslim means, firstly, that you love for them what you love for yourself, which is another hadith in the 40 hadith. Love for your brother what you love for yourself. The second thing is to not violate the sanctity of their blood, of their honor, or of their religion. Of their religion means don't criticize their religiosity without justification. So to be true to them means to do this. Don't come close to their wealth. Don't rob them if you do business with them. Don't covet what they have. Don't have jealousy for what they have. Don't spread rumors about them. Don't slander. Don't backbite. This is all part of being true to every single Muslim. Not to pry into the privacy of people. Whatever they do in their private lives, not to pry in that, not to speak about that. That's all being true to every single Muslim. To help them whenever they need help. to feed them whenever they are hungry, to clothe them whenever they need to be clothed, to give them shelter when they don't have. This is all being true to the Muslims. But if we violate any of this, then we are not being true to the Muslims. If we sleep comfortable with the Muslims who can't and we can do something about it, then we're not being true to them. Is that lacking in our nasiha, which means our being true to the religion. So be a deen, to implement the religion, to be proper Muslims mean to be true to Allah, the Prophet, the books, the A'immat al-Muslimin, and to the ordinary Muslims. If we lack in any one of these areas, then we lack in our trueness, our true commitment, our true practice of the religion. So, الدين النصيحة قلنا لمن يا رسول الله قال لله ولكتابه ولرسوله ولأئمة المسلمين وعامتهم. Some of the ulama say that أئمة المسلمين also includes the ulama. A'imma here, the leaders of the Muslims. Some of the ulama say it also includes the ulama, to be true to the ulama. And to be true to the ulama means respect them. Respect them because they are carrying the legacy of the Prophet ﷺ. They are carrying on their shoulders the responsibility of the Prophet ﷺ. They are warithatul anbiya. They are the inheritors of the prophets. And so when we respect the ulama, we're doing that not because of them. We're not respecting them for them, every individual alim. When an alim shows up, alim fulan, and we respect that, we're not respecting him for him. We're respecting him for the quality of him being an alim, which means that he's carrying the legacy of the Prophet ﷺ. To disrespect him is to disrespect the legacy of the Prophet ﷺ. Because respect for ulama is part of respecting the anbiya. And when we say ulama, we're talking ulama. Remember, real, proper, true ulama. We're not talking about people in ulama's clothing. We're not talking about people who claim to be ulama. We're not talking about people who everybody else says is an alim but is not really an alim. We're talking about actual ulama. Because they are also the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Shafi'i said, لولا العلماء أولياء الله فليس لله ولي. Abu Hanifa and Shafi'i said, if the ulama are not the awliya of Allah, then Allah has no wali. In other words, the ulama are the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Because they fear Allah the most. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. The people who would fear Allah Azza wa Jalla among His servants are the ulama. So one respects them because of the wiratha that they have. They're carrying on the legacy of the Prophet. It also leads to any matters of religion, relegate that to them. If you have something, if you need to know the hukum of a matter, go to the ulama. Don't, because every time somebody takes it upon themselves to come with a hukum, is them challenging the ulama. They're putting themselves in opposition to the ulama. So listen to the ulama, follow them, respect them in matters of religion. In your own affairs where they have no expertise, then it's not necessary. But وَلِأَئِمَّةِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَعَامَتِهِمْ. Then he goes on to the other hadith, the 8th hadith. We will do in the next session, inshallah ta'ala. هذا وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين.